Hello guys, and welcome to the 5th module of this course. In this module, I will be showing you how to cut out the patterns we drafted in the previous modules. In cutting out a male shirt pattern on fabric, I will start with the back panel. This is because I will need to separate the yoke from the back bodies. So in doing this, here is the back panel. From the neckline point, I will measure 3 inches downward. Okay, then I will extend this to the other side of my pattern with a straight ruler, making sure I have a perfect straight line. Like so. Then I will cut this out. Okay, so I will keep this aside first, then work on the yoke. So as you can see, I have my fabric folded in 2 places in case you are working with a directional pattern fabrics. Now let me quickly explain this. Your fabrics can either be plain or with pattern. Like my fabric now, this is neither plain nor pattern. It has a dot design and it is non-directional. Non-directional means the pattern I have on my fabric can be positioned any way I like it. But there are some cases whereby your fabrics will be with a directional pattern. You have to follow the pattern you have on your fabrics before positioning your pattern. More so, the pattern you choose to use on your fabrics must be consistent. You must not position the front panel vertically and decided to position the back panel horizontally, all in the name maybe you are trying to manage your fabric. So you have to do this first before cutting out your fabric. Now let me show you an example. Let's take a look at this fabric. As you can see, there is pattern on this fabric and it is a directional pattern. Okay, so if I choose to use this vertically, I must maintain the vertical line all through the cutting of my patterns. If I want to use this horizontally like this, I must maintain the horizontal pattern all through my fabrics. I must not position the front pattern like this. Then when I'm trying to cut the back panel, because I want to manage my fabrics, I now decided to position it this way. No, they must both follow the same direction. The only case you can do that is when you are cutting the yoke. You can intentionally use it that way in order to make it a design or the shirt cuff. So the first step is to study the pattern you have on your fabric. You can see this flower material. It has direction as well because there is a direction where the flowers are facing. The flowers are facing upward. So when I'm positioning my pattern, if I want it to go this way, I must maintain that positioning, both for the front and the back panels. In this case, for all the patterns, including the placket, the collar, the cuff, I must maintain that positioning, except if I want to mix it with a plain material. So now I will be cutting out the yoke, and this is the center of my pattern. It has to align with the folded side of my fabric, and I will hold this together with my sewing pins. Now I have the yoke pinned together with the fabric, as you can see, Then I added half of an inch of seam allowance at the lower part. So this is because I've cut this out of the back panel, so I need seam allowance in order to join them together. So I added half of an inch. Then I'll cut this out. I'm going to cut this in 2 places. So guys, after cutting out the yoke, I cut out 2 pieces as I said. So I have this in 2 places. So the next step is to cut the remaining part of the back bodies. And in this case, I will be having a pleat at the center back of my shirt. So for this reason, I need to add the pleat allowance at the center back, so which is 1 inch unfold. So from this edge to the center of the back panel is 1 inch. Then because I've slashed this, I have to add the seam allowance. I will be using this in joining the 2 pieces together. So I took this upward by half of an inch. So apart from that, every other thing remained the same. Then I can proceed in cutting. Àwọn kan ló máa ń bí mi nínú. Ẹ máa sọ pé may the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, láago kan. Ó ti ṣetán. Ó di 4:30. Ìyá àdúrà ìgbà. Lọ́rọ̀ ẹjọ́ yín fún lágbájá kan. Béèyàn kan ò ṣe gbé kọ yín. Béèyàn kan ò ṣe kinní kan. Béèyàn kan ò ṣe kinní kan. Àwọn máa fi instruction yín tẹ́ fẹ́ kó kúnlẹ̀ fún yín, ẹ máa pè wọ́n jáde. Wọ́n pẹ̀ kúnlẹ̀. Wọ́n ṣe gbọ́. So now that I have the whole of the back panel cut out, as you can see, so the next step is to place my notches at the appropriate places. So I will start with the yoke. At the center of the neckline, I will place a notch on the 2 pieces. Notching means cutting a little. So with this, I will know the exact point where the center of the neck is. Then at the lower part as well, I'm going to place a notch. So notching is useful when you are joining the pieces together. So it will make all the points align properly. So the center of the neckline, the center of the pleat, I'll place a notch as well, so that when I'm joining the bodies together with the yoke, I will know where the center falls. Okay, then the chest level, I will cut this a little. With this, I will know where the chest level is after separating my pattern from my fabric, so that when I'm joining the front and the back panels together, I will make sure each point align properly. So the chest level and the waist. So then the lower part of the pleat, I will put a notch there as well, so that when I'm ironing this out, I will know where the center falls. So as you can see, when I was placing my notches, I placed my notches on the open side of my fabric and not at the folded side. So now let's proceed to the cutting of the front panel. Guys, now it's time to cut out the front panel. And as you can see, I have my fabric folded into 2, and I open up my pattern before placing this on my fabric. So this is the placket allowance I folded inwards before, so I have to open it up and spread it on my fabric. So this one is going to be in pieces, it's not going to be on fold. So after cutting it out, I'm going to open up the folded side. So guys, now I have all my patterns cut out on fabric, as you can see. So I cut out the back panel, which is here, and I cut out the yoke. This is the front panel. This is the sleeve. When I was cutting the sleeve, the pattern is opened up, as you can see, and I folded my fabrics into 2, so which gives me 2 sleeves at the same time. So one for the left hand side and one for the right hand side. Also for the yoke, I cut out 2 pieces. So one for the outer part and one for the inner part. Then I cut out my 2-piece shirt collar. As you can see, this is the shirt collar itself. I cut out 2 pieces for this, and each of the piece is on fold. So which means by the time I open it up, I'm going to have double of the measurement I have on my pattern. Okay, then I place notches on the center of each of my collar. Here I have my notches here. I have my notches on the bodies as well, as I explained when I was cutting the pattern. Also, this is the standing collar, which I cut out 2 pieces as well, and each of the piece is on fold. Then I have my notches placed on the center. Then I cut out the plackets for finishing the opening of the sleeve. So I have 2 pieces of plackets here, and I cut out 2 pieces for each, and each is on fold. You can see what I have. This is the bigger placket, 2 pieces, and this is the smaller placket, 2 pieces. Then I cut out the cuff, which will be attached to the sleeve opening. So for the cuff as well, I have this on fold. You can see what I have. Then I have 2 pieces. So that is 1 for each sleeve. So lastly, I cut out the pocket, which is going to be at the center front. So when I get to the sewing level, I'm going to explain the measurement I used in cutting this out. So guys, the next step is to take all these pieces to my ironing board. Then I will be applying a fusible interfacing on the appropriate pieces, which I will explain into details when we get to the next module, which is the sewing part of this course.